Here's a story about why I no longer manifest. So, I early on grew up brainwashed, programmed in the Matrix. Sheep was always a little different, had a spark of creativity, a little strangeness to me. But I definitely fell in line and went along with the motions. Then I had that whole realization that reality is malleable and we can affect our reality through our will and intention and through rituals and effort. I found The Secret early on, probably 2012, and that changed my life. And I began practicing rituals of an intuitive way and started doing my own little techniques of manifestation. And the way I would do it was started doing exercise or yoga class at home, online, the YouTube. And at the end of my class, I would be in Shavasana, and I would then start to say certain intentions or certain things as if they already existed, to manifest, to make these thoughts come into reality. It works over time. I started manifesting all sorts of things that I was yearning for. And my magic ritual practice evolved. One example is for a couple years I was like, I'm a full-time artist every single day. And I became a full-time artist within a couple years. Before that, I would say I'm receiving vision that's going viral for a long time. I had a vision in 2017 while on a psychedelic trip. And that vision was actually of Donald Trump smoking DMT on a mission to go do ayahuasca, and he was healing on the ayahuasca, and the world was healing, and the earth was talking to me, telling me there's enough medicine on this planet to heal our most toxic parts, and that we're all one. So it was really weird. I'm not a Trump supporter. Anyways, so my intention to create a viral image happened. My intention to become a full-time artist happened. I did that with finding my home, with finding the right apartment, with finding the right car. There's been a lot of things, a lot of manifestations that successfully worked. And I reached a point where then I was really striving to break through into a new height, a new level of my artistic output and of the reception from the world. So I was really putting a lot of energy into this piece in 2024 called Jackpot. And I went to Cosm during that time and saw Entheon for the first time. I also was listening to a lot of Billy Strings, and just the mixture of being so awe-inspired by such output of art at Cosm or Billy Strings. I was slightly possessed by this inspiration to match that level of output. So in my painting Jackpot, at the center of the painting I put a little star, and that star is star mode. So when you hit star mode, you're invincible and you're magical and you can just do whatever. So put that at the center as a sigil. A sigil is a magical symbol infused with your intention that you create into art or some sort of artifact that then can go out into the world and carry that charge and manifest that. So doing my rituals every day still. Now I do it after my meditation, before my exercise practice or yoga. And doing my rituals, I'm bringing forth my greatest artwork I could possibly, that could serve the world, that is being seen by many eyes. And whatever I was saying, there was a lot of effort and energy. And what I then learned was a lot of attachment. So that was when things started to flip. During that painting, something happened and I spiraled into a whole mess of insomnia. There's some added factors like a DMT trip where I felt the fear that's in my mom that prevents me from maybe doing things in my life. This fear that's deeply rooted in me. So I smoked some DMT during the process of painting it one day. And the next day, it's a full moon, and I'm just like, I'm getting rid of my fears. I'm letting go of all my fears. It's so easy. I guess I didn't realize how deeply rooted they were in me till that DMT trip. The next day, full moon, I'm on my magic shit, and I'm like, I'm letting go of all my fears. And that's when the madness began. And I would call it a dark night of the soul. So I started not sleeping and I had this whole 6 weeks of really intense not sleeping. So nothing would put me down. So I slowly but surely started experiencing a really intense anxiety upheaval from seemingly a magic ritual and intention to release fear. So maybe it was like a rug and all of the fears just came out and my nervous system was freaking out. I was really into my health and my wellness and my routine, because that's kind of how my little rehab program I created for myself. I used to struggle with addiction and recklessness lifestyle really bad. So I realized during the 6 weeks I became really attached to my routine, and then I realized that I became really attached to the things I was trying to manifest. I didn't even realize that the energy behind all of my magic rituals was holding on really tight to what I wanted and having to be someone and do something great and leave something behind and be so greatly of service and impactful. And I couldn't even sleep anymore. I was like, so I just had no choice but to let go. And at first, I was really resistant for a few weeks. I did not understand what letting go even really meant. And I'm a pretty chill person, but I kind of got deeper into the underlying energy behind everything. And I realized I had a lot of fear and a lot of attachment. And I was holding on real tightly to the things I was manifesting and making happen. And then I got to a point where I was like, there's no point in any of this. This is not even what anything is about. And that's when, I was really getting desperate and looking for some help. I looked up the Dark Night of the Soul, and I found Eckhart Tolle, a video by Eckhart Tolle explaining the Dark Night of the Soul. And that video changed my life. And I kept watching Eckhart Tolle every day. Throughout the days, I started meditating an hour in the morning and an hour at night to try to calm my nervous system down. I was doing the Vipassana technique and the Anapana and Metta meditation techniques that I learned with Juliana Garces, who jumped in to help me so graciously. So in the middle of that process, I was also doing some cold plunges. I was putting my feet in the ground in the morning, watching the sunrise. I was creating a bedtime. I had really gone off the rails with my routine, with painting at night with bright lights, and potentially threw off my circadian rhythm in combination with potentially these magic rituals that spun me out. So I still wasn't sleeping. I decided I'm going to finish this painting, the jackpot painting. That was the painting that threw me off. And so I'm like, maybe I'll start sleeping once I finish the painting. I finished the painting, still not sleeping. So I had a moment where I really had an outpour of compassion where I was like, oh my God, I understand why people run into religion. I understand why people are so fearful, and I get people more why they're on SSRIs or certain medications to help anxiety and depression. I was having a real big compassionate moment and understanding a lot of people. And then I thought, even for myself, I was like, oh, am I going to go that direction? I've been on this path of psychedelic medicines, of meditation and yogic practices, and of holistic lifestyle. So I had that moment, and then I was like, all right, this is why you practice. This is why you have all the tools in your tool belt. So I went into my tool belt and I got a strong enigma mushroom, took a trip. And on the trip, in a very vulnerable moment in the trip, I was very uncomfortable, and that fear and all of that resistance and energy came up, and I had a big release, and I was able to just cry away my life and let it go. And I couldn't understand what that meant until I was there. The mushroom very much helped. And I saw my life and I let it all go, and I told my husband, it's okay. You can go on with your life. There's nothing I'm going to hold on to or that's going to hold me. I'm just going to let it all go and just be whatever and see where everything lands. Just let it be what it is. And I really finally understood that. And I realized that I was scared to die. and that I was holding on to my life so tightly. I didn't want to get mentally ill or lose any of the momentum or maybe get hurt or all these things. I was holding on to my life so tightly that I had to be this person and I needed to do something. And I realized that it's okay. I could be poor, I could be homeless, I could die, I could lose my sanity, I could, any of the worst things, or those aren't even that bad, but I could lose control in all of the hard work that I've built up unto this point, and that's okay. And I found peace and bliss in knowing that it's all good, no matter what happens. And that was really peaceful and really nice. I still was struggling to sleep, but I slowly started catching little bits more of sleep. I did another mushroom trip a week later and continue to work with this way of being, of letting go. This is the whole point of this video. That was when I realized that there's nothing to manifest, that the energy behind manifestation is clinging, trying, is needy, and while you could still maybe step forward to seed something to fruition, do it in a non-attached way. You could still put your best foot forward, but let it go and see if it is. So my manifestation practice evolved until I started barely having anything to say when I would do my little prayer ritual. I'll just be like, now it's pretty much, thank you for this breath. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my love. Thank you, gods, goddesses, angels, deities, like higher self, ancestors, teachers, medicine, music. It's like an outpour of thanking and of gratefulness and then the number one thing I work on is in a non-attached way is I accept all that is as it is, here now in this present moment. That one changed everything. And it's not a concept. It is a place of peace. And so the manifestation transitioned into acceptance, understanding, peace, equanimity. A journey of becoming equanimous, a journey of being of service from a non-attached way, from a non-attached place. And it has been so great and has helped me to realize the layers of attachment that I had going on for so long, and to continue to awaken to layers of attachment and understanding where I am in the world in relation to what has happened and what's going on. So I could do part 2. I know this is a basic lay of the land of this crazy journey that I went through. I may say things here and there a little in intention, but it really doesn't come from this place of needing. And I'm sure I still have some fears and some attachments and stuff, but there's a layer of consciousness, of awareness that wasn't there before. So I'm sure I'll keep finding some nooks and crannies of things to let go of and of some attachments and such, but the manifestation practice has evolved into a practice of letting go and accepting. Peace.